dais. First, sir will run the film on Akash Tattva. Then it will be followed by brief remarks by Honorable PSA. So please run the film on Akash Tattva.
Vedas, the world's most ancient text, talks expansively about the 5 fundamental elements of creation. The Panch Mahabhut Tattva, Akash or the space, Vayu, the air, Agni, the fire, Apaha, the water, and Prithvi, the earth. Akash Tattva, or the space, tranquil yet unquiet, serene yet bustling, silent yet boisterous, inconclusive, infinite, immeasurable, endless, which includes all matter, all energy, even time and cosmos. And of course, it includes you too. The sun is the source of light and heat, which is indispensable for life on earth. The variations between sun and earth, called space weather, is a matter of concern. Nonetheless, Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere act as a shield, protecting us from majority of the solar wind blast. The 20th century was historic in space exploration, as it allowed humans to actually go physically into the space. It started with the first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, followed by the landing on the moon. All the marvelous inventions and discoveries, the establishment of the space station, all these truly were a giant leap for the humankind to be in rendezvous with the space tattva. With the contemporary space technologies, we now have a better understanding about the weather cycles, formation of monsoons, forest cover and agricultural produce. Yet, continuous efforts are required in the field of space exploration and research to protect ourselves from the unknown. India's premium space agency, Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, has geared up for endeavors to look into deep space as well as the applications of space for the betterment of the humankind. ISRO's efforts are oriented towards creating research opportunities in the space sciences and physics to explore the unexplored.
Thank you for the film. Now I would like to request Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Professor Ajay Kumar Singh, for his brief remarks.
Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, other dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, we are very happy that this curtain raiser event is happening for the coming national conference for Akash Tattva, namely Akash for Life, during November 5th and 6th this year at Dehradun. So we all appreciate that the Panch Bhutas, namely the 5 elements of creation, such as Prithvi, Jala, Agni, Vayu and Akash, are all associated intimately with the overall well-being of the humanity. Now, various contemporary environmental challenges which are being faced by the humanity, everyone is trying to understand those changes, and we propose that they can be addressed through a thorough understanding of the science of Panch Bhutas. So in this connection, this conference will present Indian thought and classical concepts of Akash Tattva on the global stage from modern scientific perspective. So you will see that this national conference will see the amalgamation of Indian ancient wisdom, contemporary science, and the integration of the two on the platform of Akash Tattva. So we have in this conference 5 themes which will cover all aspects, namely earth and atmosphere, interaction of Akash, environment and climate change, the role of Akash, impact of modern technologies on Akash, sustainability, adaptation, and mitigation measures. So this totality of all these 5 themes and the panel discussions, we are sure will add to our understanding and appreciation of this complex interdependence of various elements and how along with the ancient wisdom can take us forward. And as you know that the climate change is the most serious threat we have posed for ourselves by our carelessness over the last 100 years. So this is a extremely important step which will really do the integration of the ancient wisdom and the contemporary science. So thank you very much, and I hand over to you.
Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Principal Scientific Advisors, as well as secretaries of all the science ministries working with our Honorable Minister. And we are really proud to associate all of us, all the science ministries who are part of our Honorable Minister's departments, have joined together to have a conference along with Vijnana Bharati. So this is the highlight of this conference. So in India, the strongest science establishments have, like ISRO, Department of Science and Technology, the Department of Biotechnology, CSIR, and MOES. All of them are joined together to work with Vibha to form this organization to conduct this conference on 5th and 6th at Dehradun. The theme already Principal Scientific Advisor mentioned, and he has very clearly elaborated what we want to achieve by this conference. Basically, to strive to tell one Tattva, that is Akash, out of the Panchapudas which we know, to elaborate this to the context of science, which are the earlier wisdom that existed in this country, connect with the modern knowledge and skill that are created in this domain at various departments and ministries and science establishments. So we are bringing together a lot of people, almost 35 leading speakers to talk on this topic of various aspects of it, on those 5 themes already mentioned. So I look forward to this opportunity to invite all of you to come to Dehradun, part of this conference, and give sufficient publicity to the public, specifically young people, youth, to understand the connect between our ancient wisdom and the modern science. So all of us representing the modern era have the root strongly as much as our ancient wisdom. So we represent that generation of people who connect these two. So with this, let me thank Honorable Minister for gracing this occasion, and we'll take you forward for the further program. Thank you so much.
I request the Honorable Minister for his brief remarks, please.
Thank you, Shambhuji. I think without being repetitive, what I would just like to add is that this event in a nutshell represents all that the government led by Prime Minister Modi stands for. I think this is for the first time since independence that all the departments related to science have been clubbed into one ministerial office. So that itself is a reiteration of what the Prime Minister has been saying right from day one, ever since he was sworn in on the 26th of May 2014, that we should come out of silos and learn to work in integration, and also develop the habit of working mutually with each other. So that's one thing. In this ministry, over the last 1 year or so, we have sought to carry out projects which have been theme-based, not ministry-based, because otherwise we learnt even during the COVID, that every second room had a separate project on COVID. Because if COVID was a saleable subject, you got easy publication, easy funds. So I think that leads to sometimes, suboptimal utilization of resources. So we have already integrated in the sense that we have regular joint meetings of all the 6, 7 ministries or departments of science in the Government of India. So this is carrying forward that now from that whole of government which I have been saying of late, whole of government should now extend to whole of nation, whole of society. So we are, I think that is one of the hallmarks of this event. At the same time, trying to seek 2 or 3 different goals. A, that we are now also, after having integrated all the departments and all the ministries dealing with the subject of science and technology, trying to reach out those sections of society which are dealing with it. The intellectual groups, the serious NGOs dedicated to this cause, the researchers and workers and scholars outside the government circle, so that we don't deprive ourselves of their wisdom. And this is, I think, an event which will showcase that approach. As Mr. Somnath was saying, we have NGO called Vibha, we have intellectuals who may not be necessarily a part of the ministry, but they have something meaningful to contribute. And that is why I said it's in keeping, in tune with what Prime Minister Modi has been calling for time and again. B, very recently, I think just a month back, the cabinet under Prime Minister Modi took a very significant decision in the same, in the Ministry of CSIR, in the Department of CSIR, under Dr. Kalai Selvi, we have a separate cell called Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. And this was set up by the earlier NDA government during Prime Minister Vajpayee's time. Somewhere during the UPA rule, there was another condition laid down that this traditional knowledge library would be accessible only to the patent holders, not to others. We have sought to democratize that. We have sought to democratize that sharing of knowledge, and we've now made it open to all the stakeholders, all the researchers, of course with certain terms and conditions, which of course will be dealt with by the Director General. But we would not be depriving anybody. So through this event, we are also trying to combine the traditional knowledge with what is the latest in space technology. And the traditional knowledge sums up all that the PSA Professor Sood has been telling you a few moments earlier, and also Mr. Somnath was retreating. And third, C, is also an opportunity to tell each other and tell to the rest of the world where India stands today in space technology. Because when we talk of the next 25 years and we say that India would be rising to the world pedestal, I think the journey of that ascent has already started through space. Most of our inputs, like for example from Mangalyaan, are now being procured by NASA. And most of our NASA functionaries are products of our Trivandrum Institute. So I think we are already made a global presence in space technology. And we were the first to discover the presence of water on the surface of moon. In spite of Sputnik and all those things which you saw just now, they couldn't see what our mission saw many years later. So this is something which we have to make the world realize. In fact, the world has already realized that they are ready to be led by Indian cues. And this is an occasion for us to build our capacity to perform that role, to discharge that role. And I think the biggest advantage which we have, which is quite exclusive to us, which maybe the other nations don't have, that we have with us the asset of traditional knowledge. So that traditional knowledge is not at their disposal. So how best we can do value addition to our approach, to our working, through the assets which are exclusive to us. So I think these 3, 4 hallmarks are what are going to be showcased through this. And of course, it will be accompanied with an exhibition, which will carry on for 4 days, as was told to you by the ISRO chairman. And the themes have been very diligently worked out so that they cover all the areas, and they have a good blend of tradition with modernity. Thank you.
Now, I would like to request Honorable Minister to release the program pamphlet and the brochures, please. Thank you, sir. Friends, now the floor is open for the question. Please, two brief questions because two honorable ministers are already waiting for the next press briefing.
मंत्री जी, हमारा सवाल है कि जो आप नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस और एग्जीबिशन कब कर रहे हैं, और इसके अंदर जो क्लाइमेट एक्सचेंज है, क्लाइमेट जो सिचुएशन है, उसमें एक स्पेशल प्रोग्राम या सेमिनार होगा जिससे कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा?
इस 2 दिवसीय कॉन्फ्रेंस का ये भी एक हिस्सा रहेगा, ये विषय भी। और ये जो मेरे दोनों तरफ ये विद्वान बैठे हैं, ये दे हैव अर्न दिस सीट by virtue of their scientific expertise. Incidentally, they happen to be the secretaries in Government of India, but each one of them is a scientist of national and international repute. Mr. Somnath is the person behind Gaganyaan. Dr. Kalay Selvi, first ever lithium person. Dr. Chandrasekhar, all of you know, has excelled in more than one ways. And here is the person who is Dr. Ravi Chandran, the person who is going to add economy to India's future from the ocean resources which have not been explored so far, the blue economy. And Dr. Gokhale, the man behind the first DNA vaccine that India gave to the rest of the world. So the idea of bringing them together ये भी है कि इन सब का आपस में कहीं ना कहीं तालमेल है। ये ऐसा हमें लगता कि नहीं है। जैसे आपने ठीक कहा, अब जब क्लाइमेट की बात आएगी तो उसके साथ डॉक्टर चंद्रशेखर बहुत करीब से उसके ऊपर शोध कर रहे हैं। जब हमारी स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी की बात आएगी तो अर्थ साइंसेस में स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी का दखल है, उसके बिना उनका वो जो मिशन है वो मुकम्मल नहीं है। सो आई थिंक दिस इज ऑल एक्चुअली इंटेग्रेटिंग व्हाट इज मीनिंगफुली इंटेग्रेबल which had not been done. So it's not that they are being forced to get integrated. ये कहीं ना कहीं था, but maybe our work culture was not facilitating that. तो आपका कहना ठीक है, क्लाइमेट के जो हमारे इश्यूज हैं उसमें स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी का बहुत महत्वपूर्ण रोल है, और स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी जो क्लाइमेट के इश्यूज को एड्रेस करती है और डिज़ास्टर इश्यूज को एड्रेस करती है, उसका विभाग, उसकी टेक्नोलॉजी तो यहाँ से ईजाद होती है, इस्तेमाल यहाँ से होता है क्योंकि मौसम विभाग इधर है। तो ये सारे जो बैठे हैं कहीं ना कहीं इनकी आपस में रिश्तेदारी है, इनको खुद भी नहीं था पता कि हम रिश्तेदार हैं, तो हमने इनको एक मंच पर लाने का काम किया।
सर, मैं निवेदिता हूँ। ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज की जो बात कही, आई वाज वंडरिंग कि कौन से ट्रेडिशनल टेक्स्ट रेफर किए गए टू बी इंक्लूडेड इन दिस?
वो तो आपको कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करनी पड़ेगी तो वहाँ आपको पता चल जाएगा। लेकिन ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज जो हमारी लाइब्रेरी है, इट इज़ नॉट दैट इट्स बीन डन जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ फिलिंग अप अ स्पेस। वी हैव साइंटिस्ट देयर। आज बैठी हैं वो हमारी जननी इज हियर, शी इज़ नॉट हियर। वी हैव डॉक्टर जननी देयर, very dedicated, who's been working on this for the last 3 decades. So this has been actually researched and brought to the fore. The traditional knowledge which has relevance to our modern scientific projects. And that is exclusive to India.
Aniruddha,
I think one day the media friends can also interact with Janani and others. Yeah, so that this is an interesting subject which has not been much discussed.
yeah, I'll organize a separate briefing with Bhase. Yeah, Aniruddha.
आप डिफाइन कर रहे हैं, मतलब स्पेस तो हम ऑलरेडी जान ही रहे थे ना, तो स्पेस फॉर लाइफ की बजाय आपने आकाश फॉर लाइफ बोला है, ये इसका वजह
नहीं नहीं, वो तो उसका शीर्षक है, लेकिन स्पेस की खूबसूरती ये है कि हम समझते हैं, हम उसको जानते हैं. The more you get into space, the more you know there is much more lying beyond that. So definitely the themes have been very diligently worked out, led by Mr. Somnath and guided by Professor Sood. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि अब कुछ जानने को नहीं रहा. So you realize
ये 5 थीम है,
5 थीम का इन्होंने बता दिया. You can repeat that also.
नहीं सकते,
Yeah.
पर 5 थीम में काफी सब टॉपिक्स हैं जो कवर करेंगे इसे.
ये जो ब्रोचर है इसमें मोटा मोटा थोड़ा सा है,
Yes, sir,
ये
distributed.
आप बांट भी सकते हैं.
Yeah, Rekha Dixit from.
इसमें क्लाइमेट का भी है, जैसे आप
पर ये प्रोग्राम जल्दी से हम वेब पे डाल देंगे.
Sir, Rekha Dixit here. If you remember 2015 जब
हेल्थ
science
भी है,
conference हुआ था,
बिकॉज टेलीमेडिसिन भी आज इसी के द्वारा, इन्हीं के विभाग से चल रहा है.
Sir, 2015 में जब Indian Science Congress हुआ था, and there was a kind of an entire aspect on traditional Indian science. बहुत सारी controversy हुई थी, बहुत सारा unconfirmed, or I don't want to call it pseudoscience, but the whole thing became a really messed up situation. A lot of things, I mean, no one's denying good Indian science, traditional science, but a lot of, weird things came in, and especially now that we are talking about space. You do remember all those flights of fancies that were discussed. How do you plan to, keep the scientific, what shall I say, the temper of this conference intact?
No, I think that I'm glad that you raked up that must add to our experience and enable us to learn from what has happened in the past. Incidentally, none of us was part of that 2015 team. Sorry, no, he was not the chairman. So the other part is that this part has been very diligently worked out. It will be purely a science meeting. And I remember Professor Sood once was being pushed into include a certain sub-theme or sub-subject by somebody, and he said कि नहीं, मेरे में अभी इतना ज्ञान नहीं आया कि मैं वहाँ तक पहुँचूँ. So we have tried to optimize it, and a very scientific blend of traditional knowledge with this, where it correlates the context.
Sir,
Last question.
We are very conscious of it, that the message should not be erratic.
सर मैं मनीष हूँ जी न्यूज़ से सर. चूँकि इसरो चेयरमैन भी साथ में है सर, इंडिया को गगनयान मैन मिशन की इंतज़ार है पूरे देश को. चूँकि कोरोना की वजह से हमने देखा काफ़ी डिले भी हुआ था. अभी किस स्टेज पर है सर, बता सकें, और क्या किस तरह की तैयारियां चल रही हैं?
बताने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लेकिन ये प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस किल हो जाएगी. कल खबर सिर्फ गगनयान की आएगी. दिक्कत ये है, मैं और सोमनाथ जी बंगलौर बैठे थे, तो मैंने इनको बाद में कहा कि आज एक बहुत कमाल हो गया कि किसी ने गगनयान की बात नहीं छेड़ी. तो दिक्कत क्या, अदरवाइज जैसा आपने कई बार रिपोर्ट किया है, उसका जो पहला हमारा है नॉन ह्यूमन मिशन, वो अगले साल एक शुरू में होगा. उसके बाद रोबो होगा, फीमेल रोबो वायोमित्र, उस साल के एंड में होगा. और विलम्ब तो हुआ ही है, कुछ ऐसे कुदरती कारण रहे, कोविड की वजह से हमारे जो पोटेंशियल एस्ट्रोनॉट्स थे उनकी जो ट्रेनिंग चल रही थी, प्रशिक्षण, उसमें बाधा पड़ गई, लॉकडाउन हो गया, उनको वापस आना पड़ा.
Thank you, sir, and thank all the dignitaries on the dais. Friends, we'll keep sharing, material and.
ये ब्रोशर यू कैन.
Yeah, brochure share कर दिए sir.
सर एक वेबसाइट, हमारा एक वेबसाइट है,
हाँ, वो
आकाश फॉर लाइफ. यू कैन टाइप http akashforlife.in, You will get all continuous, akashforlife.in. You can get all the information, all programs, speakers, topics, everything. And you can also register if you are coming as a delegate there. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
And I think, I think you'll keep updating also that
Yes,
website.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
चलिए सर, हाँ
15 मिनट में खत्म कर दिया।
मैं हाँ थैंक यू सर। तो अब ये जो फेडरेशन की जो मीटिंग हुई थी हमारी अंडर कंट्रोल
ये वो राइट से हिंटिंग जो बात आप कह रहे हो वहाँ पे